What's up, everyone? Lion Roar here, and we've got some new epic and legendary heroes and gemstone legends, so let's break them down. But first, if you haven't downloaded Gemstone Legends yet, of course you're going to want to do that. So check the description of this video for instructions to get a whole bunch of free stuff, which you can't do just by downloading it in the App Store or Google Play. So you definitely want to do it this way. But today we're going to break down some new heroes. So let's jump in and take a look. Now, I already have Kusai because she was part of an event earlier. So it's cool to see her come up as someone you want to be able to summon because you want to summon Kusai. She's an epic hero, but she plays like a legendary hero. And I'm tempted to take her all the way up to 6 stars. I think she's that good. So I'm going to talk about why. But you've got this whole family of her now. We haven't seen these other heroes, the blue, the yellow, the green, and the purple yet. So we're going to talk about them. And then, of course, the new legendary hero. So we'll just start with the blue one here and just go in order. And then I'm going to, of course, talk about why Kusai is so good. But we'll see if the others match up too. So Elrina is a specialist warlock. I'm looking at the HP, which looks pretty good. Attack and defense are okay. Her speed is very good, and her mana gain is fine. It's not special, but it's okay. She's a resistance leader everywhere, so this increases the resistance of all allies by 30% in all game modes. You would want this if, for example, you're going against a team or enemies that deal a lot of statuses so that they're not as likely to land on you. Hypnotic Fume is the special, deals damage to all enemies, 167% of defense. So you're going to want to put a lot of equipment on her that increases defense. 100% chance to inflict decreased critical chance on all enemies for 2 turns, and 100% chance to inflict decreased critical damage on all enemies for 2 turns. So that's pretty niche. That's a special that I don't think you're going to be able to use all around. I mean, she is a specialist, but you're basically going to be taking her against a team that has a lot of direct damage dealers and ones that get increased like crit chance and damage. Nature knows what it's doing is the passive special here recovers 15 mana for every enemy killed, immune to silence. So that's really interesting. I'm not sure that these special abilities synergize a whole lot, but where she's going to be good, see, because she's taking away critical chance and critical damage from enemies. But if she were to actually deal the critical chance and critical damage, then this recovers 50 mana for every enemy killed will be super, super powerful. It is a powerful ability on its own, but she's going to be spreading the damage around. You're probably going to want to pump her defense up so she's likely to kill some heroes and then recover some mana. But so far, I don't think she's stacking up quite as good as Kusai. So let's talk about Kusai and why she's so good. Her HP, attack, and defense look pretty good. Her speed is nice. And her mana gain is good too. In fact, her mana gain is better than it looks on here. We're going to see why when we look at the special. But she's an accuracy leader everywhere. Increases the accuracy of all allies by 30% in all game modes. And that's really good because that's a very versatile leader ability. And especially because basically all of her special are statuses. She's going to also synergize with other heavy status heroes. Like, for example, I have Zarkon. So when you put these two together, oh my gosh, she goes off. And if she's the leader, a lot of those statuses are really going to stick. And Zarkon actually has a high accuracy leader ability too, but it only counts in the arena. She's everywhere. Tempting Scent is the special, 100% chance to inflict a decreased resistance on all enemies for 3 turns. 100% chance to inflict vulnerability on all enemies for 3 turns, and 100% chance to inflict poison on all enemies for 3 turns. All right, let's break this down. So first, she's got increased accuracy if she's the leader. So that means your statuses are more likely to stick. Then she puts a status on the enemy to decrease their resistance, which means that statuses are now even more likely to stick. So your stuff is going to stick. I don't know if you've noticed in this game, but the statuses, even if they're at 100%, don't always stick because it depends on accuracy and resistance. And then 100% chance to inflict vulnerability on all enemies. So vulnerability is really, really good because it allows your specials that deal damage to deal 30% more damage. I have seen huge amounts of damage when I've used vulnerability from Kusai paired with Sophia, one of my other legendary heroes. And when Kusai goes off and then Sophia's dealing her direct damage, man, she can one shot anyone. But it's really the synergy with this that's making that happen. Which means it's not just Sophia that goes with Kusai. It's really any direct damage dealer who you can get the damage up really high. Once you get that vulnerability on the enemy, you're going to kill them. And then lastly, of course, the poison part of this special. Oh my gosh, the text just goes on, right? The poison part of this means that as your opponents are playing, they're just melting to their death. And the passive special just makes this even better. So just take everything I said and like double it, because Taste of Regret gains 50 mana at the start of her turn and a 25% chance to use her special ability twice. So, oh my gosh. She can inflict poison not once, but like twice, which is just absolutely incredible. And that increased mana. So she's using her special more frequently, which is absolutely amazing. She's great. I mean, I think she's totally deserving of being a 6-star hero if you get her. So definitely worth summoning for on her own. And the great thing is she's an epic hero, so she's a little easier to get than the legendary hero here. That's telling me that this is a good event to summon because you're likely to get something good out of it. All right, Nahira, another new one. This one's yellow. The base stats are looking pretty good. Speed's pretty good. Mana gain's really good. And then she's an HP leader in the arena. Increases HP of all allies in the arena by 38%. Cursed Dream Dust deals damage to all enemies, 145% of defense. So again, you're going to want to put defense equipment on her. 50% chance to inflict sleep on all enemies for 1 turn. That's really good. That's really, really good. Sleep's kind of like stun, but once you like hit them with some damage, they wake up. So you just try not to hit all the enemies. You just maybe you're going after one or something like that. And then 100% chance to inflict curse on all enemies for 3 turns. And curse, what that's going to do is take away positive statuses that opponent may have. This is actually a pretty good ability against that purple raid boss that likes to put a bunch of buffs on itself. So this is going to take those away. And it's yellow, so of course, yellow strong against purple. Sweet Servitude restores 15 mana to all allies whenever an ally dies. Immune to silence. Now, these specials that depend on an ally dying are not my favorite, except for the ones that revive. But of course, you don't want your allies to be dying in this game. So, depending on them dying for some special to go off, not great unless the special's helping to bring you back. So, this one's helping you to, maybe salvage some of what's happening. But it's hard to say if this is actually a good passive ability here. So I think that Nahira is okay. I think that, of course, she's a specialist. So you're using her to basically mute the opposing team. You can probably find a good synergy with her if you build around her. You're just using her kind of to manage the board. And then we have Tala. Looking at the base stats again, the speed is really high. That's nice. Everything else looks fine. Unbearable Stench deals damage to all enemies, 177% attack. That's really good. So definitely make sure you're putting the attack equipment on her. 100% chance to inflict decreased attack on all enemies for 2 turns, and 100% chance to inflict bleed on all enemies for 2 turns. So this looks very similar to another special, but actually kind of better. Civ, who a lot of people have said is relatively underrated and a good hero, epic hero that a lot of people have taken to like 5 stars or higher. And she does this decreased attack thing as well. However, Tala brings this extra bleed ability that she's going to apply. So not only is she doing direct damage on all enemies, but now they're bleeding over time as well. They're taking more damage. It's a status. So that kind of looks better than Civ. Now, Civ does have a better passive ability, But what Tala's passive ability is Unstoppable Force of Nature. Resistance is increased by 7% for each living ally, immune to silence. So I like this passive a little bit better than the last one we were looking at that depended on allies dying. This one's depending on them living. So that's really what you want, because this passive is in its full force the moment you start the game. And that usually makes a passive ability a little bit better. So I think Tala is pretty good. I think that because Civ is good, that's making me think Tala is going to be good as well. And lastly, from this particular family, we have Ordia. And let's see, her base stats look good. Her speed is fine. Her mana gain is really good. Scent of Death is her special. Deals damage to all enemies, 144% of attack. 100% chance to inflict heal block on all enemies for 2 turns. And 100% chance to inflict mana choke on all enemies for 2 turns. You know, I'm not so sure that heal block is that good of an ability in this game. It's definitely not one of the most powerful. Anything that's increasing or decreasing speed or ignoring defense or lowering defense of enemies and things like that, that's all the good stuff. Or freezing them, you know, and things like that. It is the mana choke ability on Ordia that is the good one here, because that's, of course, preventing them from charging up and firing. And then we have Nature's Revenge, which is the passive 20% chance to use her special ability twice, immune to silence. So that kind of resembles Kusai a little bit in being able to use this twice. I'm not sure how good that is, just because I guess with Kusai, some of those statuses, they're not going to stick twice. Like, they're just going to get overwritten. That's kind of happening here too. So I guess, you know, you want the special for the dealing the extra damage. But you know, she's immune to silence, so that comes up once in a while. She's okay. You know, I think that my favorite heroes of the new family are probably Kusai and Tala. Now, let's take a look at this legendary hero. But before we do that, if you haven't already, please consider liking the video, subscribing, hitting that bell notification so you know when I drop more of these. And also, I am going to be doing a summons video. So you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed for that so you know when that comes out, because I'm going to try to go after this guy and members of this family. We also have an event going on right now, the Summoners Fest, that gives you points for summoning. So, of course, that's kind of a big deal. All right, let's take a look at this legendary hero, Raphael. Wow, that HP looks really good. It's really, really high. His speed looks good at 105. The mana gain is low at 17. That is slow. That's a slow legendary hero as far as mana gain goes. You're going to need to fix that somehow. And there's a way to fix it. So as long as you're fighting your raid bosses and your guild is doing a good job at that, then you're going to be able to get that mana equipment to put on him to speed that up a little bit. It goes up like 5. So if you can get that up to 22, that'd be good. I think looking at the base stats without even looking at the specials, I think for him to be good, you're going to have to put the mana equipment on him. All right, so let's take a look at the special. He's a crit damage leader in the arena. Increases the crit damage of all allies in the arena by 30%. Of course, you have to make him the leader. He's not just automatically going to do that. And I do think that there's some better leader abilities out there. So it just kind of depends on what heroes you have. Like, anything that increases speed, I would want that more than anything. But crit damage is good, especially if your heroes have a lot of crit chance or something like that. You know, you could build around this guy if you make him the leader. Use equipment to give heroes crit chance, and then he's going to increase their crit damage, and then that's just going to be a really good direct damage situation. So if you have a lot of direct damage dealers, you could definitely build around this guy, and it would be awesome on defense and probably even offense too. Lance of Darkness deals damage to all enemies, 189% attack, and ignores 20% of defense. You just heard me say that ignoring defense is one of the most powerful abilities in the game, and here you have it. This guy's dealing a large amount of damage to everyone and ignoring their defense. That's awesome. So you're going to want to pump this guy's attack up as high as you can possibly get it. So if you are putting that mana equipment on him, look for the pieces that are doing like a percent increase in attack for the base stat on it, and then hopefully in the substats you're also seeing increased attack there. You just want to get that up as high as you possibly can. Also, other types of equipment on this guy that are good are going to be things that increase crit chance and things like that. Aura of Hate is the passive. Recovers HP equal to 30% of damage dealt. So he's sort of like a healer for himself. And he's going to be dealing a lot of damage. So this guy's going to stick around. His HP is already high. Attack is increased by 40% if HP is at 100%. Wow. So if you load up his attack and then he gets 40%, he's dealing a lot of damage right off the bat. It just all depends on if you can get that special off. Because since the mana gain is so low, it's likely he may take some damage before you get a special off. But if you can get his special off before you get before he takes the damage, he's gonna be doing a ton. He's still gonna have 25% increased. I'm sorry, if his attack is increased by 25% if the HP is above 50%. So he's still getting some increase in attack there too. And like I said on the other hero, this is the kind of passive I want to see where it's depending on a hero being alive or having HP rather than the opposite. I'd rather not be trying to recover, but be using the full amount of the special from the beginning. And lastly, immune to heal block. So, you know, like that one doesn't matter that much, except that, you know, he's going to constantly be healing. So it's like a nice little passive people might forget about. And it's just like, why is Raphael not dying? Well, that's why. So I think this guy is going to be pretty good. I do think that there's a better legendary yellow hero out there, Jasper, who they just buffed. I think you would want Jasper more than anything. So if you're having choices to make about who to ascend to 6 stars, yeah, go with Jasper. But Raphael's right up there with some of the best yellow heroes in the game right now, I think, especially whenever you're going up against teams in the arena. I'm not sure that he's so useful against the raid boss, but of course, if you're investing the resources in him to get him up there, you're probably going to take him against the raid boss. It's just that, you know, hitting everyone means he's dealing less damage to an individual enemy. And that's why he's not as good against the raid boss. But he's a pretty good hero all around, so I'm definitely going to be summoning for him. So make sure that you have hit like and that subscribe button, hitting that bell notification so you know when I drop that summons video, and I will catch you in the next one.